Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I decided to do something on a Saturday night called Dr. Boyce Exposed. In case you don't know what that is, that pretty much means that I'm going to answer any question that you ask me. You can ask me any question you want. Just kind of make it a brief question. That way I can answer it quickly, and I will answer any question on any topic that you have. And also, I'll just kind of talk about anything. I mean, we could talk about finances, of course, but we can also talk about life and or any questions you have about me or my life or anything you guys want to know. Tonight, I finished watching the Olympic trials, and that was really interesting. Sha'Carri Richardson did not make the Olympic team in the 200 meters. I put something up about her on my Twitter. I like Sha'Carri a lot, and I know some people think that you're hating when you bring up a critique, but I don't care about that. And I will say that one thing about Sha'Carri is that I've seen her grow. I've seen her evolve a lot. And I love the fact that she has matured so much. That was the biggest thing I wanted for her because I felt like she was throwing her career away. But one thing that she does do is that she seems to kind of quit when she's not able to win. She kind of slows up at the line. And I saw her and I took a picture of a screenshot of it and I put it on my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. And on my Twitter, I basically show where she's standing straight up. All the other sprinters are leaning to the finish line. She's basically standing straight up because she wasn't able to actually make the team. And I don't know. I kind of think that how you lose says a lot about your character. It says as much about your character as the way that you win. And so just generally as a rule of life, my high recommendation for anybody out here is, make sure you learn how to be a good loser instead of only knowing how to be a good winner. You don't want to be a bad loser and a great winner. But anyway, let me know if you guys can hear me. Give me a quick yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. And I don't even know if they sent out the notification, so I may be sitting here talking to myself. If that's okay, I can text you guys and let you guys know when I'm going live. And also, just as an FYI, you guys know you can get a copy of my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, by going to drboycebooks.com. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. So what's up, Kashif? How are you, brother? Good to see you, man. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. And sometimes it's funny, man. You'll have hundreds of thousands of followers, and when you get too radical and too black, they'll literally throttle your distribution. So even though I have hundreds of thousands of followers on different platforms, they might notify like 80 people or something or 100 people. It's kind of crazy, but you just work with whatever you can. It is what it is. So anyway, what's going on, Demi Rivera and Jay? Good to see you. Yeah. So what else? So today I did a whole conversation that you guys can feel free to take a look at. It was on this whole black jobs thing with Trump. And I was explaining just that whole concept of black jobs. And, what's funny is that everybody sort of jumped on this term black jobs, black jobs, black jobs. And I encourage you to stop worrying about the term black jobs and use a better term. Here's a better term. Y'all ready to hear it? A better term than black jobs that we should be using is black owned. Don't tell me how many black jobs you got. Tell me how many black owned assets you got. Because if you don't own things, then somebody owns you. Everybody's over here talking about where's my black job? Where's my black job? Well, that's your problem. You look always looking for the black job, and you're not looking for black owned. There are some families out here that don't even look for jobs, and the fact that you're trained to go look for jobs from your oppressor, that you see that as your key to survival. That the only way you can survive in this country is to sit back and beg your oppressor to take care of you, and to hope for the best, to hope that they decide to start being nice to you. That's kind of a rough spot to be in. I kind of think we deserve better than that. I really do. I'm not a big fan of, you know, this idea of us sitting back saying, well, how many jobs you gonna give us? You gonna give us a job? I want a job. Give me a job. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having a job. I'm just saying that you can't have a whole community that is working for the very same people that you claim to be trying to compete with. You can't compete with your boss. That's like a child trying to be older than their parent. You can't be older than your daddy. Your daddy's always going to be older than you. So until you learn how to live in a world where you don't relegate other people to be your economic parents, where they give birth to your possibility, they give birth to your opportunity, they open doors for you to be successful, then you'll never know what power feels like. You'll always be talking about black jobs. I want my black job. What's my black job? No, let's talk about black owned. I don't want to talk about black jobs. Let them talk about black jobs. I'm talking about black owned. Because whatever job they create for me ain't gonna be the job I would create for myself. I got a PhD and I don't even want my black job. Whatever little black job. When I was at Syracuse University, we had black jobs. If the black job was that they would put you, they would always take the black professors and they would put them like in Africana Studies, the Africana Studies department. It was like a little ghetto. They would send us over to our little black job, and they would give us the good job. They would give us the black job. So, and these were liberals. So stop acting like it's only the Republicans that are racist against you. Don't nobody like you. You got to like yourself. Okay, so let's see. El deGrasse says, explain your books. Well, I do have a book. My latest book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And there's basically 10 straightforward principles that if any black family follows these principles, they'll be wealthy within a generation. This is based on thousands of years of economic theory. This is based on the 30 years I spent teaching finance at Syracuse University, Indiana University, the Ohio State University, etc. A lot of what you're learning about wealth is wrong. A lot of the stuff you're learning from internet influencers is wrong. A lot of the things that you were taught by your parents is wrong. And the reality is that there are very basic, very simple economic principles that if a family applied these principles, they would be able to be as wealthy as they wanted to be. It's just a matter of having discipline and having the courage to deviate from the pack, because brainwashing is pretty big. And so if you brainwash everybody to just be a whole community full of people seeking black jobs, then you're not going to have any wealth. You're not going to have you can't have black wealth if all you're doing is chasing black jobs. Black jobs is not consistent with black wealth. Black jobs is not consistent with black owned. Black jobs is not even consistent with black family or black prosperity. So you got to make a choice, man. But anyway, that's my latest book, 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power at drboycebooks.com. I have other books called Financial Lovemaking. Financial Lovemaking is all about merging love and money together. I was really fascinated from a research standpoint with how money shapes how we form relationships with people. I never understood why women would sleep with an old nasty ass man just because he got money. I never got that, but I studied the biology and I found out that basically women just have an attraction to men that can provide security and power, just no different from the way men are attracted to a woman's fertility. So I'm not here to knock that at all. I don't think it makes her a gold digger. I think it makes her human, because women naturally want to protect their young. And the best way to protect your young is with a provider, not with somebody who's going to just, abandon the family. So anyway, I wrote that book back when I was on the faculty at Syracuse. I wrote another series called Black American Money. That's also drboycebooks.com. So I got a few books out there. Okay, can you elaborate on your thoughts about BlackRock starting a stock exchange in Texas? Is it bad for the average investor? I don't think it's bad. I think that the more you have markets, see, one financial blessing that gets overlooked a lot is that the United States has lots of well-functioning markets. When you have a well-functioning market, that's a good thing. It's almost like, think of it like this. Imagine if you're looking for a boyfriend or you're looking for a girlfriend. And imagine that there's no way for you to meet people, right? Like you're in the library a lot, or you're at work all the time, so you can't meet anybody, or you're an introvert, so you don't leave the house. And let's say somebody starts a club, let's say it's a book club or a nightclub or whatever, or even an app that allows you to connect with other people. You can put yourself on the market, you can see what's out there. Then suddenly that improves your life. That gives you, in economics, the term is utility. That gives you utility because everybody's happier, because the right people have a better shot at linking up with the right people. If you're a really pretty girl, you're going to have a lot of guys that are going to see how pretty you are. If you're a handsome man, same thing. So you're going to get something that is more connected to your true market value than you would if you were just sitting in your house all by yourself. Let me know if you get that analogy. So basically, the same thing is true of financial markets. Financial markets provide a really important asset that I really hope you'll think about, which is liquidity. Liquidity is the ability to convert your asset into cash or to sell it to a higher bidder if you don't want that asset anymore. One of the things that people don't think about a lot when it comes to investing is, how do I get out of this deal? How do I get my money back? How do I take my money out? So let's say you go start a black-owned business. You start a black-owned business and you pour all your money into the business, your whole life savings. And let's say the business doesn't generate that much cash. Well, you can't go sell that business on the open market and get what you put into it. It's very hard to do. So this is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of doing things like selling stock options to make money. That's how I make my money, is I sell stock options. I don't buy a lot of stock options, but I sell them. And the reason is because it's a high ROI. It's very easy to do. It doesn't require any work. I don't have to go to work to make the money, and it's extremely liquid. So anyway, if you're interested, if you want to take a look, text the word money to 87948. I have a free training you can take a look at called How to Make Money Without Working. And I promise you, once you see it, it's going to blow your freaking mind. You're going to be pumped up. Like I, because I study stock options from a more financial theoretic standpoint. When I learned about it, I wasn't really thinking about how to apply it. But I learned the deep mathematics behind it. And when I started to apply it, I said, oh my God, I need everybody to understand, like, there are easy ways to make money out here. You just have to have a plan. So let's keep going here. Let's see here. All right, next question is, let me keep going. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Everybody follow the Dr. Vibe show. You should see him in the chat. Please click on that show. Please follow. We got to support each other, man. Seriously. Morpheus, not every black person is exceptional. It's okay to have a job. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a job. I'm just saying that if you are able to own an asset, you're better off that way. If you're not capable, I mean, if that's your limitation, then absolutely. Some people can't do it. Some people, don't want to be the boss. I understand that. But a lot of our kids could be the boss, but we train them to be, to be a worker. We train them, they're born 7 feet tall, and you're training them to act like they're 5'2". So again, I agree. Everybody can't be the boss. Everybody can't run a business, but everybody should own a piece of a business. Everybody should own an asset. If you own nothing in America, America will kick you in your balls, stomp you in your face, and cut your penis off. That's what America does to people that don't own assets. Do you understand? And I'm not here to beat around the bush with you. I'm not going to sit here and say it politely. I'm not going to try to be nice. I don't talk like that. I want to be honest with you. America is a capitalist society. This society worships money. I'm not saying that you have to worship money. That's unhealthy. What I'm saying is you better get you some bread. You better get you some ownership, because these people are not playing with you. They will turn you into a straight up slave. That's just what it is. That's me being as honest with you as I can be. I hope that helps. I hope that did not hurt your feelings. All right, so let's see. Hey, Tides and Shoot, how are you? Good night. I want to learn Forex. Where should I start? Well, I know we have a Forex program in the Black Business School. I think it's b1forex.com. I don't know if they're accepting students anymore, though. But I think they're closed for this semester. But there's like other resources out there. I would avoid those super expensive programs where they charge you, $10,000 and stuff like that, because Forex is not an easy way to make a consistent amount of money on a straightforward basis. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it's one of those things where you're going to have big gains, but you're going to have to deal with steep losses. There's also a steep learning curve. So I'm not big on Forex. I sell stock options. That's how I make my money. I don't really make a lot of money with Forex. That's not so much my thing. But we do have Michael Edwards on the Black Business School, who's going to actually be at the All Black National Convention. So if Forex is something that you have an interest in, then God bless you. I hope you'll also join us at the convention. It's going to be in Chicago, Illinois, October 25th through the 27th. And you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. I'll put that URL on the screen if anybody wants to go. And also, don't forget, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify or Apple, look up my name, Boyce Watkins. You'll see several podcasts. I have one called The Dr. Boyce Breakdown, which, I kind of talk about everything. And then for those of you that just want to hear me talk about stocks, I do something called Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. And that's where I not only tell you what's going on in the markets, but I also recommend stocks and things like that you may want to look at, because I'm a big believer that all of us should be investors in the stock market. All right, let's see. Next question. These are good questions. Y'all some smart people. I love smart people. Let's see here. What's up, Simply Deep? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. Never heard your thoughts on the fake Florida A&M $237 million donation. You know what? That is a financial consciousness issue. And actually we do financial consciousness training every single morning. If you text morning to 87948, it's totally free. So feel free to join the class. I know you're going to love it. Everybody loves it. And the reason it's a financial consciousness issue to me is LW. When I wrote my book, Financial Lovemaking, one of the things that drove me to write that book was I noticed how we tend to want to be around people that have money. Tell me if you've noticed that. Like if somebody has money, everybody wants to be their friend. Even if that person is somebody that might get you killed, everybody wants to do business with them, even though you have no idea what kind of shady business they might be in. You're just excited because this rich person wants to be around you. Women want to sleep with the guy, and they don't care how many STDs he might give them. They just want to sleep with the guy that's got money, even if he never gives them a nickel. And so what happened with Florida A&M to me was that money has a study showed that money affects your brain like a drug. Professor Andrew Lowe at MIT basically proved that money affects a region of the brain, the same region of the brain as cocaine. So when you are around money or receive money or have the chance to get money, there's a very heavy biochemical reaction in your brain that can cause you to just lose consciousness. Like you kind of get so pumped up about the money that it can cause you to lose sight of everything else. How does that impact the Florida A&M thing? Well, here, this dude who clearly lied. There's some guy that clearly lied, came in, pretended like he had all this money. He gave them fake shares of stock. They were so excited about the money that apparently it sounds like they didn't do a thorough vetting process to see if the money was real. It was, from what I understand, very, very fake. They let this guy become commencement speaker, which unfortunately harmed the credibility of their institution. And it's really just one of these things where I think that we just want to believe that the rich guy is going to be our Prince Charming, or that this is going to be our big break. And there are a lot of people out there that do that. There are a lot of people that will show you fake money to get something out of you that's very, very real. It's like the internet scammers who will take pictures on their private jet driving the Ferrari and say, if you take my class, you can have a Ferrari too. It might be the man who shows a woman a nice car and a nice apartment. And throws money at the club, and the woman thinks, oh, he must be doing well financially, so I want to be with him. Even though throwing money away at the club is the exact opposite of, in terms of behavior, that gives you financial security. And also, you don't know what he actually owns. You just know that he has a nice apartment, which means he's paying a whole lot of money to the landlord. So if you really want to date somebody rich, you shouldn't be dating the man in the apartment. You should be trying to go find the landlord, because the landlord's the one who's receiving all the money. He's not getting money. He's giving money away. The landlord's receiving money. So ultimately, I think that Florida A&M unfortunately got tricked in the same way a lot of people do. When rich people walk in the room, everybody wants to be their friends. I knew a guy who wasn't quite a billionaire, who kept allowing people to call him a billionaire because he knew that being called a billionaire meant he got access to rooms filled with billionaires. And so you just got to be really careful about that, in my opinion. Dr. Bob, do you ever think that America will have a national black political party? Not anytime soon. Nothing that's really going to move. I don't know what's going to happen politically in America. And I don't really have a lot of faith in politics. I kind of think the solutions are available, and I want to pour my energy into the right solutions. And I believe the solutions are more family based than they are, with these big picture political initiatives. I don't get caught up. The Democrat Republican stuff to me is more for entertainment than it is actually something that actually makes a difference in your life. That's just my 2 cents. Let's see here. Thanks for you and Dr. Alicia's support. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. Well, bless you, brother. Thank you so much for those kind words. I will tell Alicia. She's going to be coming back soon, so I can't hang out here for too long. But we're having a weekend out. So she went down to go look at some fireworks. So it gave me a chance to kind of go live for a few minutes. I'm waiting for more info on that one. It seems as if they gave money they did not have yet. Yeah. That's you believe it's in good faith. Okay, well, then that's interesting. I hope it's in good faith. I'm gonna double check that. I mean, I don't want to speak too much on the Florida A&M thing without knowing all the details, but it seemed to me that the $237 million is a lot of money, $250 million. I mean, Lord, that's a ton of money. So I don't know. I have no thought. I can't. I'm not gonna speak more on that one. What do you think of Governor Westmore of Maryland? He will be the Dems' next guy. He checks all the boxes except descendant of Black American enslavement. I have not looked at Governor Westmore. I'll go check him out. You think he might be the presidential candidate? Because I know Biden can't be. That poor guy. His wife had to help him down the steps after the debate. He couldn't even walk down the steps by himself. I mean, everybody knows an old senior citizen when they see one. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because his name is so strong that they kind of need him, but I think they need to pick somebody else. There's some who have a fetish for older women as well, especially if they're in good shape. You got a fetish for old women? I never wanted to date an older woman for myself, but hey, shout out to anybody who pick whoever you want. Demi says, I live paycheck to paycheck and support my wife and 1-year-old son. Are there any side jobs you recommend that I can own and start to bring in extra income? Well, I think it depends on whether or not you you've been a saver or not. If you said paycheck to paycheck, okay, so Maybe I mean I've seen some people maybe take jobs as Uber drivers and things like that, or maybe at the very least joining some sort of group with other entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial minded people and kind of brainstorming on ideas that can generate extra money. I would be really careful about MLMs or these blessing looms or things like that, things where they say, if you bring in two people and they bring in two people. I'm not a fan of that. I'm more of a fan of simple things like just understanding. If you understand supply and demand, which you can learn just from a simple business class, literally stuff you can do on the internet or the Black Business School, you can get started there for free. Just that in identifying when people want something gives you that ability to make money in a different way, which comes down to selling something that people want. And so I think that just having that level of economic consciousness can go a very long way in terms of expanding your income possibilities. Also, family business meetings. I'm a big believer in that. Maybe talking to your relatives about what you're all trying to do, and then figuring out ways to bring together your resources and making things happen that way. I've seen that work as well. Kashif says, "Who or what inspires you?" I think Kashif, my favorite person is Dr. Claude Anderson. I think he's the greatest economic thinker of the 20th and 21st century. I'm also inspired by Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X. Who else? Harriet Tubman, is pretty amazing. Tom Brady, actually, I love Tom Brady. He's my favorite white boy because I just love excellence. Like I don't care. To me, when you're excellent at that level, I just have a lot of respect for that. And even as in terms of athletes, like I like the way Michael Jordan pursued his own type of excellence. I don't like his personality type. I don't think I'd want to be Michael Jordan as a person, but I think as an athlete, I just love to see. I love when excellence is executed at a high level, and I think when you get a piece of that, you got to hold on to it. Anyway, let me keep going. What do I think of Chipotle stock? I like Chipotle a lot, Tony. I think it's a great company. Long term, it's great. Dr. Vibe, would you share some of the books you have read that have influenced you positively? Let's see. The autobiography of Malcolm X. He's a great guy. What's another book? There's a book called Traction that taught how to delegate things. Let's see. I read a book called The House of Morgan about the family of J.P. Morgan and how they sort of built their fortunes over time. In terms of financial books, the books I read were more so academic books. Books that were like, I don't know, like Value Investing by Graham and Dodd and econometrics books and stuff like that. I didn't have a lot of time in grad school to just read just books for fun. All the books I read were for a class or whatever. Wait, I think somebody's trying to come into my hotel room, so I'll keep talking to you guys while I go answer the door. I just saw a video saying that gay is the new black. Is that right? Very funny. I'm not even going to answer that one because you know the answer to that question. I have a $65,000 Floki voucher. Can you give me some pointers on how to sell it? Bro, I don't even know what a Floki voucher is. So I wish I could. If I don't know what it is, I probably can't help you sell it. My apologies for that. Dr. Let's see, Boyce Watkins, you seem like the type of dude that's not easily persuaded into something spontaneous in your younger days. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. Yeah, well, I had a father that was very, very blunt about responsibility. And so even at an early age, I was held accountable for the things I did. I couldn't just go and do stupid stuff and get bailed out by my parents. I had to deal with the consequences of the choices I made. So I don't know. My parents were just kind of contrarians in the sense that my mother, was a kind of a typical project girl to some extent, and she might have been defined as a hood rat if you want to call it that, but she for some reason all of her friends, her and all her girlfriends had kids at the same time, so we would all play together, and I would go play with my little friends, in the ghettos and whatever, where my grandma lived, not to get the hood, let's say the hood, and all the kids ended up having trouble as they got older. They were maybe on drugs or in jail or dead or whatever. And that didn't happen to me and my sister because my parents just had a different way of viewing the world. They kind of wanted to get away from what everybody else was doing, So like and my father was a cop and a Vietnam veteran, so he was very serious, there's a lot of discipline in the house. So I just kind of knew not to go following the crowd because if I did, um, I knew that the consequences would be mine and mine alone. And they would just kind of tell me stuff like that. Like I remember one time I had a cousin, I went to the store with him, the candy store, and he stole some candy. So he comes out, he's got a candy bar in his pocket. So he pulls his candy bar out And then later on, somehow, and I didn't snitch. I wasn't a snitcher. And I remember he told. I remember his mother found out that he stole a candy bar. So this Negro lies and tells his mother I stole a candy bar. So his mother calls my mother and says, Coco stole a candy bar. That was my nickname, Coco. And I was so livid. I was so pissed. I was so mad. I was like, I'll be damned. This dude, I didn't even snitch on him, and he lied on me. And I remember my mother just kind of saying it's still your fault. Like, you should have told when you had the chance. Now, I don't believe in that. I still don't believe in snitching per se like that. But what it kind of spoke to me was, even when you are a so-called victim, you still have some accountability in your victimhood. You still have something you could have done differently. So that really taught me about thinking strategically. And also remember, I was coming of age in the 90s, where a lot of black men were going to prison for 20 or 30 years for very small offenses. And nobody cared about that. Nobody had empathy for that. This was during the Biden crime bill and three strikes laws and all that. It was draconian. It was a Holocaust for black men, where black men were going to prison like crazy. Like, you could have had a friend that was dealing drugs, and you set up a phone call between your two friends that do a dope deal. Next thing you know, you're going down on a RICO charge, right? So it was very scary. So because of that, I felt like my margin of error was very thin, and I couldn't get into no shenanigans. So long story short, I wrote about that actually to some extent. I wrote a book. One of my earlier books was called "What If George Bush Were a Black Man?" And in this book, I explored from a statistical standpoint. I said, the people don't talk about how the margin of error for the black male is so much thinner than everybody else. The white boy can go out, act a fool, get in trouble, mess up a few times, and he can come back from that. A lot of black men can't. You mess up one time when you're 17 years old, you done. You know what I mean? You go to prison. Even if you go to prison 2 or 3 years, prison is horrible. Prison is hell. So I know a guy that went to prison at 17 for a year. He wasn't right mentally. He wasn't right in the head. He was crazy for the next 30 years, because he was in there getting beat up, raped, everything else, and nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares. Like, nobody has any empathy for the pain that men experience. Everybody cares about women. We care about gay people. We care about white people. We care about white women. Nobody cares about what black men go through. So in a way, it's like sometimes being in your own private little hell, where you're dealing with all this shit. And I was scared to death. So my reaction to that was to try to be on my P's and Q's. I was always very alert of my environment. I was always very thoughtful about who I hung out with, where I went, because choosing the wrong friends, being in the wrong situation could easily get you killed. My very best friend got a bullet in his brain, and he was shot in the head right in front of his daughter, and when I was 25 years old. So that was my experience. So no, I did not get into a lot of stuff, because I felt like life did not give me the same margin of error I would have if I was, like, say, a rich white woman. So there you go. That's why I'm so serious about certain things. Like, when I get serious, I get real serious, because I really believe that life is not playing with you. Like, I don't think Black lives matter to anybody unless they matter to Black people. And because at the end of the day, they will chew you up, spit you out, destroy you, cut your balls off, take everything you got, ruin your life, and traumatize you, and not give a damn. They don't care. They're not going to shed tears for you. So I think that for men, I talk to women too, and I have my message for women, but for men, I said, you got to be on point, man. You got to be playing chess out here. You can't be playing checkers. You can't be running around here getting high, getting drunk, being lazy, not being disciplined, you're being unfocused, putting your penis in every vagina within a 100-mile radius. All these stupid choices. They train you to go to sleep. They train you to go to sleep so they can murder you while you're sleeping. That's what they do. They want you. Think about it. Even if you look at a lot of these police shootings, sometimes these shootings happen because some guy was in a situation he shouldn't have been in, doing something he shouldn't have been doing. I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm not saying that George Floyd being high on drugs meant he should have got killed. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that you got to be on the defense, man. I don't want to be a dead man that everybody feels sorry for. I want to be the living man. I'd rather be the alive, healthy man that everybody hates than to be the dead Negro that everybody has sympathy for. I'm sorry. There is no pride in losing the battle. So I think Black men are at war. That's what I really believe. And I think that, and it's sad to me when I see men who don't understand that. So that's my perspective. I mean, again, you don't have to agree with all of it, but I'm not going to hold it back, not 1 inch. Let me keep going. All right. So next question, hit the thumbs up button, by the way, if you could. And also, I don't have a lot of time. My wife is back, so I'm gonna go spend some time with my wife because she's a pretty lady, and I wanna see what what she doing tonight. I know what she gonna be doing. She gonna be hanging out with me. That's what she gonna be doing. All right, so let me see here. Texas Homestead Harvest says, I'm waiting for more. Okay, you already said that. Sharif, how good or bad do you think Bronny James will do in the NBA? I think he's short. I think that the scariest thing I've heard about him is that he's short, and I also know he has that heart issue. I really worry about that. It's got to be just scary to know that he could just fall out at any moment. And I think his height is probably like the biggest factor. But I'm rooting for him. Like I really love what they've done. I love LeBron getting to play with his son. I think that maybe if he really wanted to set his son up right, he would have married a taller woman or something. But I don't know. And that's what's funny. Like these big old gigantic athletes will marry these like little tiny petite women, so their kids will come out shorter than them. Like I think Shaquille O'Neal's kids, none of his kids are as big as he was. I think he's got one that's like 6'11", but Shawnee's like a tiny little lady, and Shaq is real big. So my thought is like, look, if you're really trying to plan for the next generation, go out and get you a chick in the WNBA, right? So think about it like this, right? Imagine if you had Shaquille O'Neal marry some lady that's like really big, like Brittany Griner size. Of course, it wouldn't be Brittany because Brittany would be, she'd be trying to like get him pregnant. But still, like some pretty lady that's like Brittany Griner size, then you're gonna have an NBA player. But when you are LeBron and your wife is tiny, then your son's gonna be like 6'2", trying to imitate a man who's 6'8". That's not doable. Same thing happened to Michael Jordan. If you know, Michael Jordan's kids are like 6'1", 6'2". There's a million guys out here that are 6'1", 6'2". There aren't that many that are 6'6" and above, 6'7" and higher. So again, if you really trying to get your son in the NBA and not have him go through life like constantly dealing with this, I cannot imagine the amount of pressure and almost like an inferiority complex they probably develop. Like I'm trying to live in the shadow. I literally, physically and mentally am not big enough to fill the shoes of my father. Physically and mentally. Like mentally, Bronny can't be LeBron because LeBron came out of the ashes. He came out of the dirt. Bronny came out of the suburbs, right? The wealthy part of the suburbs. But then secondly, Bronny, even if he's committed to doing all the training necessary to be LeBron, he can't. He's not 6'8". His daddy is. So I think that's the hard part for Bronny. But I love the fact that they're playing together, and I hope that they can make it work. I'm a root for them the whole season. Okay, let's see here. Boyce Antonio says, Boyce, these people named by MSNBC concern me. I don't think someone like Alex Jones got so big until media started talking about him. Huh. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I think that when people hate you, that does make you big. And Alex Jones, the other guy, I forgot his name. I forgot his name, but he's the one that talks about all the masculinity issues. I can't remember his name though. He used to be a fighter. I guess it's working for them to cancel him because Aaron? What's the guy's name that all the boys like? Andrew Tate. Yeah, Andrew Tate. And I think it's BS. I think that I honestly feel like we have a feminized society. And I think that's why they shut men like that down. I said older men, not older women. Oh, older men. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I must have missed you see, okay. I'm trying to go back to your original comment. I can't find it. There's some women who have a fetish for older men. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. I personally think that that's natural. I really do. I think that women appreciating older men makes perfect sense. Women tend to want a man, from what I've seen on average, from what I've read, women tend to want men that can provide some type of security. So that means they like the man to be a little taller, a little smarter, a little stronger, a little wealthier, right? Just all the, and then with age comes that maturity and stability. So, men, our stock does really go up. Like once we, like the number of women that came after me in my 30s was far higher than the number that came after me in my 20s. I had a lot of competition in my 20s. I didn't have no competition in my 30s. I definitely didn't have any competition in my 40s. And I'm not single in my 50s, so I don't know what that's like. But I imagine, me being a millionaire would probably make it easy for me to attract a woman if I was trying to do that. So I personally think that, like, overall, all of it makes sense. I don't think there's anything wrong with women being attracted to older men. I think that that's been happening for 50,000 years. We can't socially engineer that out of society. Hypothetical question. How do you respond to getting enticed into something naughty by your lady alone at an area other than your house in your younger years? How would you respond to getting enticed? Well, I'm a now you didn't go too far. Simply deep. Well, I just say we're human, right? And everybody's human, everybody's sexual. I think we make sexuality into this taboo topic that we don't address honestly. But remember, sexuality is very natural. Like that's why human beings exist. If it wasn't for sex, none of us would even be here, right? So I think we've taken something that's very natural and we've made it into something that's taboo. But one thing I will say about sex, though, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of all the, like the stripper rapper culture that we have now, is because I think that sex is very powerful. Remember, sex is the foundation for the creation of all human life. So when you are treating sex as if it's something that is cheap and dirty and just worthless, I think karma comes back to get you. You have unwanted children, which is very traumatic for those children. You have people that ruin their lives through sex, sexual addictions, or choosing sex with the wrong person, having children with the wrong people. The STD epidemic's out of control, and I think that it just kind of. I think that when you're too deep into the whole casual sex idea, I think that you're kind of playing with God, a little bit, and playing with the universe. And so again, I'm not here to judge anybody's sexuality. I'm just here to say that even no matter what you do when it comes to sex, I encourage you to take anything that's very powerful. I think you should take it seriously. So that means to me that even if I am getting it in, doing my thing, being a human, having sex, I'm at least going to think carefully about where I put my seed. I'm not going to go. No woman can just walk by me with a big booty and a smile and get me to risk my life. Like that woman could give me a disease. That woman could have my child. That woman could tell people I raped her. That woman could ruin my life. So before I would make a move like that, even if I was single, and even when I was single, I would think about it at least. I would say, okay, is it worth the risk? And I don't think men think about that. I think that it's stupid when you have a culture where just because she's cute and she wants to sleep with you, you're supposed to do it. What kind of discipline is that? What kind of sucker would that make you? Because then if somebody wants to take you down, because the man's always making a plan for you. The man's always, your haters, your enemies are always going to take you down. Whatever your weakness is, they're going to use that against you. So why would you make it so easy for them to destroy you? Because you are not disciplined enough to stay focused when something is put in front of you as a temptation. So again, I'm not judging anybody's choices. I'm just here to say, come on, man, we got to think a little bit. What's up, Unc? Is it possible for ETFs to do a stock split? No, because ETFs are a combination of multiple assets. So now the stocks within the ETF would do the split, but I've never heard of ETF doing the split or splitting. Dr. Boyce, what's the purpose of life? You know what I meant? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think, even if we don't know what the purpose of life is, maybe there's not a purpose, right? Maybe you pick your purpose, right? But I think even if you pick a purpose and you just made it up, if you believe it, then that becomes your purpose. Everything is what they call what's the word? It's not agnostic. Oh, I forgot. Vacuously true. In mathematics is a term called vacuously true. And what that means is that if it's kind of a question where there really is no absolute answer, then any answer you choose can be the right answer. So, for example, if somebody says, "Do flying pigs speak Spanish?" then that can become vacuously true because there are no flying pigs. So it doesn't matter if they speak Spanish or not. So you can, in your mind, create a world where there are flying pigs that do speak Spanish, and then it can become true. So to some extent, that's the God in you, in my opinion, that allows you to manifest whatever reality you choose to embrace. And I think that that's okay. So some people choose a purpose. It becomes their thing. They're committed to it. They believe in it. Well, then to me, when you believe in it, that's what makes it real. You see what I mean? And this is actually true when it comes to the stock market too. Like if an asset has a value and everyone suddenly decides that it doesn't have that same value, then the value drops. The price of a stock will drop just because people stop believing in that stock. They may be wrong, but it doesn't matter. That will affect the value. So so the mind is very powerful in terms of shaping the reality around us. Let's see. Where's Madam President? Asked Michael. Madam President is around. That's my homegirl. She's definitely she is family. She's doing her thing. You should follow her on Instagram. It's one Madam President. That's her Instagram. And also my Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. In case you were ever looking for me on the gram, they took down my Instagram. I had 600,000 people on it, so I had to start from zero. So now I have about 110,000 or something at Dr. Boyce Finance. So you can check me out there. And if you want to follow me at Dr. Boyce Money, that I created that backup page just in case they come again, because I'm sure they will. All right, so let's see here. Simply Deep says, Boyce Watkins, your parents raised a good man. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Dr. Bob, do you think interest rates will go down this year? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And when the news comes out that they're going to go down, stock prices will go up. Most indicators that I'm checking out right now are telling me the stock market should be strong for the rest of the year. There's no guarantees, but most indicators are pointing upward. I thought that it was eventually going to cool off because it's been doing so well, but a lot of indicators, a lot of research I've been seeing is actually in contrast to that. So yeah, so you can take that for what it's worth. I do a podcast on Spotify. You can go check it out, called Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. So if you look up Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market, you can follow me on Spotify. If you can hit that follow button, that'd be real cool. And I just kind of update you on what's going on in the market. I also throw out some investments that I believe can operate well in this environment. Like I think yesterday, I think I mentioned Procter and Gamble, PG. I think that's a good stock long term to make some money with. Let's see, Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Gary Gensler are anti-crypto. Since Trump has vocally supported crypto, how do you think this will affect the black vote? I think that could make a difference, actually. I mean, well, yeah, that's true about what you said about crypto, right? I think that the Trump administration, what's ironic right now is that Trump has kind of done something that has really, really disappointed the Democrats. He's getting the support. He's getting support in Silicon Valley. That's something I thought I'd never see. I didn't think any Republican would get support in Silicon Valley. And the reason he's getting support in Silicon Valley right now is because the tech guys in Silicon Valley, they feel that the Democrats have been too focused on regulation. They've been too restrictive. And Trump is the guy who's basically saying, I'll let you do whatever you want. I'll deregulate whatever. So they appreciate that. So effectively, Trump's getting support in Silicon Valley. He's getting support amongst crypto enthusiasts, all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's see here. Let's see. Next, Tara Redmond says, I didn't think you would answer that question. Oh, the question about the sex. It's life. Yeah. Let's see. You always answer so eloquently and intelligent. Love it. Always on point. Oh, thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that, Tara. Thank you so much. It's nice. It's nice to hear nice things because so many people that I'm sure would probably not say nice things, but I probably earn it. One guy I was debating with. His name's Anton Daniels. I brought him on my channel because he always had a lot to say about me, and I was talking about him. He was in the chat, and I was like, "Yeah, you need to come on here because we got to just talk." So we had this great conversation, and I wasn't there to fight with him. I'd rather not fight with another black man. I'd rather learn from him and try to understand his point of view. I wish Kwame Brown would have done that, or Umar Johnson. I know Umar Johnson has an issue with me. He's had an issue a long time. Roland Martin's had an issue with me. But these guys, they're all scared to talk to me. I don't know if I intimidate them. I have no idea what's going on. But Anton, to his credit, he was not scared. He came in and we talked it out. We talked out about everything. And there were times where he was like, I was like, yeah, man, and you said this about me, and I thought that was unfair. Well, then he turned and he was like, yeah, but you said this about me. And I was like, damn, you're right. I did say that about you. Okay, you're all right. I apologize. Right. So sometimes, sometimes people say mean stuff and sometimes I earn it. I ain't gonna lie. I know that I'm provocative and that's not deliberate. It's just me being honest. And sometimes you shoot at people, they're gonna shoot back. It's life. Let's see here. Next question. Michael Hollenshed says, Unc, we've seen the Trump years, we've seen the Biden years. In your opinion, who's better for the stock market, the overall economy? You know what? I'm gonna tell you, Michael. Both administrations tend to be good for the stock market. That's just the data I have seen. I looked into the research on that. Like, okay, is a Democrat or Republican better? Trump or Biden better? Both of them are going to really take care of the wealthy people in this country. And this is one of the things I think that's very important for you to remember, that you are gonna, if you're an investor, they're never not going to take care of Wall Street. They're never not going to take care of people who either are rich or who are behaving like rich people. If you are in the stock market, even if you're broke, even if you're not doing as well as you want to do, you're behaving like rich people. You're connecting your interests with their interests. You're aligning your outcomes with their outcomes. You're getting in the same boat with them. They're never going to sink the boat that the rich people are on. Do you understand? So get on the rich people boat. You know, there is if you're scared to invest and you're not sure, I've been begging you. I've been really doing everything I can to get you guys started. There is something at blackwealthmasterplan.com. That's the $5 a day plan. It's totally free, and literally that $5 a day plan will take any family from poverty to literally being better than most American families in less than a decade. In less than a decade, you'll be well on your pathway to having a kind of nest egg that will put your children in a position where they never have to even work for anybody. And people think that that's impossible. They think it's crazy. They think, no, we got to go look for our black jobs. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about black jobs. I want to talk about black owned. I want to talk about black business. I want to talk about black success. I don't want to talk about black jobs. Jobs are typically things that black people do where they go and they're working for a white person. Black jobs do not provide black freedom. That's now for maybe for white people, a white job might do that, right? Because a white man gets to work for someone in his own community. A Jewish man can work for someone in his own community. An Asian man can work for another Asian man, and that master plan can be successful. For black people, you're the only group in America that I know of where most of you are working for people who don't look like you, and you're also definitely the only group in America. Think about this: you're the only group in America that works for somebody that used to want to kill and murder and rape their ancestors. Like literally, you are like a sexual assault victim going to work for the person that assaulted you. Like that's just not healthy to me. That's not a healthy engagement, not a healthy interaction. And so if you're really talking this whole rah rah freedom and you know black success, black wealth conversation, it can't just stop with jobs. Jobs are not going to get us where we want to get to, and that's the honest to God truth. So let's see here. Michael says, I've been investing since 2017. Thank you, Unc. Appreciate it. Good for you, man. Yeah, keep on going. If you've been going since 2017, that's great. You're well on your way. See, people don't understand. Remember, I've gone through all the equations on investing. That's all we did was look at equations and mathematics and do computer algorithms. And I can tell you exactly what you need to do. It's very tiny pivots, very tiny things. If you change very tiny things in your economic behavior, that will put you on a different trajectory. It's like you're driving the car and you're going 50 miles an hour in the wrong direction. But sometimes if you just pivot like a little bit to the left and you just keep driving at the same speed in a slightly different direction, you'll end up in a whole different state. You understand? Like if I'm driving to California and I'm going straight to California, but then I pivot my car and turn it like let's say 20 degrees, and I drive the same speed, but I'm still going. I'm going to end up down in Texas. I'm not going to end up in California. You understand? So what I really want you to do is I really want you to really just think about the little things you can do. Don't worry about the big stuff. Just do the little stuff, and that will make the difference. The little stuff, when it's accumulated, that's what becomes the big stuff. Big stuff is not created overnight. Big wealth is not created overnight. Big wealth is created through time and consistent behavior that goes in a certain direction. That's how you get there. Okay. All right. So I got I'm going to do a couple more of your questions and then I'm going to bounce out for tonight. And also, by the way, some of you have asked about possibly joining I have a mastermind now. It's called the WIN Mastermind, which stands for Wealth and Income Network. So if you're interested in applying, it's for those of you that have a little bit more of a capital base. And we do a lot of work on all different kinds of investing, private equity stuff like that. But really, stock options is kind of the starting point there. So if that's something that you want to do, I think there's ways we can help you, but but you have to apply because we got to make sure you're ready, you understand what it is and what you're jumping into. So if you'd like to take a look at that, just go to drboyceoffers.com. There's also some other offers there for some black-owned businesses and some other things that you may want to take a look at. So feel free to go to drboyceoffers.com. That URL is right there on the screen. All right, let's see. Longtime listener, Ricky says, longtime listener, subscriber. I don't usually comment, but I just have to give you props on your consistency. You've been giving the same message for years. Keep going. Thank you very much. I hope I said your name right, Ricky. It's spelled Riqui. Thank you so much, brother. Your words warm my heart, and I appreciate you hearing me out because I know sometimes I'm not correct. Sometimes I probably sound crazy. Sometimes I am more on point than other times, but I do my best. And consistency is something I really believe in, and I believe in, leading by example in that area. Through the way I got through my PhD program, which was really, really hard, was by doing the same thing every day for like a decade. Like literally, like I don't get tired. I don't stop. I just every day, same thing over and over. Keep showing up. You keep showing up. You keep showing up. You keep showing up. You keep showing up. And I don't have even the persistence level that I really want to have, because I've seen people that are more persistent. If you really want to see persistence, you know where you want to go to like China, and go to like a poor go look at like a poor entrepreneur in China who's trying to sell something on the street corner. Those are the most persistent people I've ever seen. Or go to Ghana and look at the brothers that are sitting on the streets just selling stuff to you on the street. Like that's a level of persistence that I truly admire. Or when we're going to Egypt in August, kind of as a group trip. I would invite you guys, but actually it's sold out. The next time we have one, though, I'll make an announcement. We're probably going to do South Africa next. And there were these people that were just really doing everything they could to sell. They were literally sitting with their boat next to the ship, selling to people that were on the boat, and they were sitting there all night long trying to sell what they could to the people that were on the boat. Like just when I see people that have that level of persistence, and they don't have nearly as many opportunities as we have. Like, we've got a wealth of opportunities in this country. Any person of any background, I'm sorry, but it's true. Any person of any background, I believe, if they really, really put their heart into education, put their heart into making good choices and working hard and doing their best, they're going to have a shot. And I'm not saying that the racism isn't real. I'm not saying that the odds are stacked against you in certain areas, for sure. But I am saying that there are countries and places where people work 10 times harder than us, where no matter how hard they work, things are not going to get better. There are no opportunities. They're not going to climb the corporate ladder. They're not going to be able to start that business. They're not going to be able to make that investment. So, it's not fair. Life is not fair. We know these things, but you still got to do your best. Just keep showing up. That's my 2 cents. I hope that is okay for me to say that. Let's see here. Where do you keep your YouTube plaques? I never picked up my YouTube plaques. I think I should have a few, because I got a few channels that are over 100,000. Let me see. I think I got. Let me see. One. I got one that's got 500,000. Two that's got 500,000 actually. Because we have Fly Nubian Queen, which is where but that's where the women do their thing. So you can feel free to check that out. Let's see. We got two that have 500,000. I got one that has 300,000. One that has 186,000. So I think that's four over 100. But I feel like there's a fifth. I just can't remember what it was. But yeah. So we should have the plaques. I just never ordered them. I should probably order them. But then again, I could just make a Zoom background and put a plaque in the background, because I did earn the plaque. But thank you for the compliment. Sean, Boyce, how do you feel about the FBA and reparations movement? I like it. I support it. I spoke at the reparations rally a couple of years ago. I like what Tariq and everybody's doing. I think that these movements should be unified. It's weird that they're not unified, but I really think that sometimes personalities can make it hard to unify, because there's a lot of ego. And sometimes when people start fighting, they can't put their egos to the side and realize that they're better off working together, So, because if you remember, Yvette Carnell had her movement. What was it? ADOS. Yeah, ADOS. And I feel like that kind of fell to the wayside, because I don't know. I mean, I think if your leadership is not mature, then your movement's not going to succeed. So a lot of the fighting on the internet, I guess that's just going to happen, because people are competing for attention and viewership, so they can, because a lot of people are making money. They're paying their rent off of their YouTube channel. So fighting is what gets the biggest views. So attacking each other and all that, I think, is what a lot of people end up doing. And I think it ends up undermining the ability to really form any kind of comprehensive movement. All right. So one more question, then we're going to bounce out for tonight. Let's see. Vincent says, explain again how you would only do stock options if you knew what you knew now, and do you pay taxes on stock options? Well, you know what, Vincent, you got to pay taxes on any income that you receive. The IRS always wants their cut. So that's something, you always want to talk to a tax professional if you start making money. Yeah, if I knew then what I knew now, you know what I would do? This is real numbers. Like, you can really look this up. If I was explaining this to a single mom once who has a 3-year-old son, and I said, okay, so if you want your son to be successful, what are you going to do? She said, I don't know. I'm going to, make sure I save for his education. He's going to go to college. And I said, what's he going to do when he goes to college? She said, I don't know. Maybe. I said, what would you consider to be a successful profession? She said, a medical doctor or something like that. It's okay. Let's say that he was going to become a surgeon or something, right? And she said, okay. And I said, well, so to become a surgeon, he would go to college 4 years, then do 4 years of medical school, and then maybe a 5-year residency or something in order to become a surgeon. So you're talking about at least 13 years of school. So he's finishing school when he's in his early to mid 30s, and then after doing all that, years and years of thousands of hours of study, thousands of hours of training. Then he gets a chance to finally start making money. But even as he's making money, he's going to have to work those 12, 14, 15-hour days like a surgeon would. So it's going to be 20 or 30 years of very hard work, probably going into his 50s, maybe his 60s, and then he'll retire. I said, okay, so how much would you think he would make as a surgeon? She said, I don't know, maybe about $500,000 a year. I said, okay, great. Let me show you a little trick. And so what I showed her is I said, what if you decided right now? I said, let me ask you this. I said, do you have a car note? She said, no. I said, are you going to get a car? And she said, yes. I said, what kind of car are you going to get? She said, probably something nice like a Mercedes. I said, how much are you going to put into the Mercedes on a car note? She said, about 600 a month. And I said, okay. I said, so let me ask you a terrible question. She said, what? I said, do you love your son as much as you love your car? And like any good parent, she was taken aback, and oh, cool, I love my son more than a car, more than a car. And I said, absolutely, I know that you do because you're a good mother. So I said, all right, so what if you took $600 per month that you put into the car, and you just said, whatever I put into this car, I'm going to put into my son's future. I'm going to invest the same amount of money every month that I put in this car into an S&P 500 stock portfolio. And so I showed her the Black Wealth Master Plan. And I said, so if you did that, and let's say that you didn't know anything about stocks, all you did was you put the money, and I said, I could tell you exactly where to put it. You put it in, say, an S&P 500 index fund, VOO, Victor Oscar Oscar, or SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee. And I said, do you know that if you did that, if you put that $600 a month into that mutual fund, I said, after 10 years, you and your son would have roughly, give or take a few thousand, you'd have roughly about $120,000. And then I said, after 20 years, you would have roughly $400,000. And I said, after 30 years, you'd have roughly $1 million, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Nobody can predict the stock market. Now, I said, now let's say that instead of all the years in medical school, your son takes that money, and he goes and buys himself, let's say, 2,000 shares of Coinbase stock, theoretically, right? Coinbase stock trades at about 240 per share, 230, I think, something like that. So 1,000 shares would cost 230,000. 2,000 shares would cost 460,000. So, and let's say that he uses margin, so he doesn't even have to put up the whole 460,000. He only has to put up half, and then the rest is in cash, or the rest is in other investments or whatever, right? So I said, what he could then do is he could take those 2,000 shares, and he could sell stock options on those shares every week. I said, now let's look at our phone right now. I'm going to show you right now at this very, very moment on your phone what you could do in a matter of seconds if you own those shares. I said, you can go in and you can sell these Coinbase stock options. He's got 2,000 of them. I said, you can sell them right now. And I think the price per share or per option was like $6 for the week. I said, okay, so for this week, he would get $6 per share. So he's got 2,000 shares. So 6 times 2,000 is what? She said $12,000. I said, exactly. I said, so right now on my phone, if I own 2,000 shares of Coinbase, I could get $12,000 roughly per week, every week. I said, I can do that without going to work, without doing literally anything. That means there's just so what's $12,000 a week? $12,000 a week is roughly about $600,000 a year, I think, something like that. I said, so he could make the same amount of money as a surgeon. Are y'all following me? Let me know if you're following this. He can make the same amount of money as a surgeon without taking on a single student loan, without doing one single class, without sacrificing 10, 12, 13 years of his life in training, without doing the 14-hour shifts of a medical doctor. None of these things. I said, so not only would you, if you made that kind of investment for him, not only would you be giving him access to money, you would be giving him access to all the things that money can't buy, like his youth, his free time, his peace of mind. He's not stressed out trying to make this money. See, a lot of times we think that having a good income comes from grinding until you can't grind no more and working yourself to the bone. But what you don't understand is that wealthy people, when they build a capital base, a collection of assets that generates income for them, when their money starts working for them, they don't have to work anymore. That whole grind until you die model should really only be done by the first generation. After that, that wealth is supposed to pass down. Somebody else is supposed to be able to live good because you made a sacrifice. It's not supposed to be generation after generation making the same sacrifices or working the 10-hour, 12-hour shifts. Now, I hope that y'all understand what I'm saying. Do y'all get what I'm saying here? This is not This is not hocus pocus. This is not a feel good story. This is not MLM. This ain't none of that. This ain't no blessing loom. This ain't no, one day you could be rich. This ain't no prosperity gospel. This is financial science. Remember, I'm not a financial influencer. I'm a financial scientist. This can be done very easily. This can be done on your phone. This is how I make my money. This is how my wife and I are staying in a hotel that costs $750 tonight. It's because of things like stock options. So that's my 2 cents. That's my argument. That's something I encourage you to consider. There are 1,001 ways out here for us to create a better life for ourselves than our parents had, and to create a better life for our children than we have. And I just encourage you to explore all those things. So instead of talking about black jobs, I want to talk about black owned. Right? I want to talk about black wealth. I want to talk about black people. I want to talk about black success. So anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. I hope that's helpful. Um, let's see. Feet says, did you teach math in college? If so, what level, or did you pass Calc 3? You know what, Feet, I taught trigonometry before I ever even took trigonometry, which was the craziest thing I ever did. But I had to do it because I didn't have nowhere to live, and I needed to get into that program to get some money. So that's how desperate I was. So I agreed to teach trigonometry, and I made it through. And then Calc 3, I think, or maybe, oh no, I think I took Calc 2 before I took Calc 1. I don't remember if I ever took Calc 3 though. I don't remember if I did or not. I know I learned everything in Calc 3, so I must have taken it somewhere. Maybe I just studied it on my own, but I needed to hurry up and learn a lot of math because that was required to get a doctorate in finance. So that was my crazy experience. My 20s, I spent a lot of my 20s kind of scrambling, and my 30s, I guess I was building. In my 40s, things got a little bit easier. So it's, typical trajectory, I guess. But anyway, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Just a couple of reminders. Number one, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we're going to do financial consciousness training. That class is totally free. If you'd like to join that class, just text the word morning to 87948. Or if you live out of the country, you can go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. Also, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name on Spotify, you can find the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. I even have a podcast called How to Make Money Without Working. So feel free to find that as well. Also, if you're interested in the whole stock options stuff and you want to learn a little bit more about it, just text the word money to 87948, and I'll send you a copy of my training, How to Make Money Without Working. I guarantee you're going to love it. It's been seen probably by about 700,000 people by now, I imagine, and everybody loves it. And I think everybody should know how to do this kind of stuff, because there are some opportunities out there in the world. I just want you to kind of know what they are. We should all be financially intelligent, because that's the key to our success. Not voting for a Democrat or voting for a Republican. You can do that in your spare time, but I don't think that's going to be our solution. Our solution is going to lie with us. So anyway, God bless you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And thank you guys for listening to me. I appreciate it. And I will never take that for granted, by the way. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care now. Peace.